Hi, everyone. I'm Francesca Emaker, and we're coming to you live as the world continues to celebrate the life of Queen Elizabeth II. Any moment now, we're preparing for a historic moment as King Charles III will address a grieving nation on his first full days as monarch. In fact, let's go ahead and take a live look right now together. Today also marks the first full day of mourning in the UK following the Queen's death on Thursday, a period that continues until after her funeral. And earlier, the King and Camilla, the Queen consort, arrived in London to huge cheers at Buckingham Palace, where they shook hands with some of the thousands of mourners who are gathered outside the King and Queen. Also met with the Prime Minister, Liz Truss, who was just appointed this week. It was just 7 years ago, today actually, that the Queen became the longest reigning monarch in British history. Today, gun salutes were fired across the UK commemorating the life of the Queen. 96 rounds were fired, one for each of her life, and that also took place in Australia. And bells tolled at churches all around the nation, from Westminster Abbey to St. Paul's Cathedral and Windsor Castle. Today marks the beginning of 2 days of tributes to the Queen, British Parliament. Now, earlier, the Prime Minister spoke of the late Queen's great legacy. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, in the hours since last night's shocking news, we have witnessed the most heartfelt outpouring of grief at the loss of Her late Majesty, the Queen. Crowds have gathered, flags have been lowered to half-mast, tributes have been sent from every continent around the world. The United Kingdom is the great country it is today because of her. The Commonwealth is the family of nations it is today because of her.
So many tributes to the beautiful Her Majesty. Tomorrow, King Charles will officially be proclaimed king, which will be televised live for the first time ever. In fact, this is a big day in not only British history in London, it's a big day around the world. Keep in mind that Prince Charles is a man who we knew as Prince Charles for 73 years, the Prince of Wales. And now, for the first time ever, we are seeing him as King Charles. Now, he is in his early 70s, and many people are wondering the difference between him and Queen Elizabeth. And through my research, I learned that the two are pretty stark. Queen Elizabeth is someone who, she goes by protocol. She is very non-controversial, and King Charles is known to speak his mind. He's also known to stand for several issues. In fact, he is an environmentalist. He is someone who is an activist, and he practiced that and didn't have to wait until he became king to do so. In fact, in 1986, he was doing an interview, and they were talking about his love for the environment, and he said he actually talks to his plants. They help him grow, and he helps them grow by speaking. Also, I just want to paint the picture for you all, what it's like right now in London, outside the Buckingham Palace, also outside of Windsor Castle. Thousands of people overnight, thousands of people throughout the morning have been laying flowers. They've also been laying cards, and my favorite, they've been laying letters. And right now what you're looking at is a little bit of footage that happened about a couple of hours ago. That is King Charles taking an hour to greet his constituents right outside of Buckingham Palace. And it was so sweet because he would kiss on their cheek, or if they, they would lend their cheek to him. And he would also kiss his hand as well. And they would shake and they would cheer and they would say, "God save our king." And they would say, "Hip, hip, hooray." And this is King Charles and the Queen consort right outside of Buckingham Palace. Again, as I mentioned, they were looking at the flowers, looking through letters, looking at cards as well. Now, overnight, there were also so many commemorations all throughout the world. The Eiffel Tower went black, and that is very rare. The Eiffel Tower went black. Also, the Empire State Building, that's right here in America, I should know that one. The Empire State Building, it twinkled silver and purple, which were two of her favorite colors. And of course, purple is that color of royalty. And as I mentioned, in Australia, so many different salutes all throughout the nation, so many bells going off as well. And there are so many formalities that are going to be kicking in today. Many people are wondering what is going to happen with the Queen. Well, right now, her body is in Balmoral, and that was one of her favorite places. And just to give you a little bit of context, in Balmoral, she has a castle there, and this was a castle that was given to her great-grandmother by her husband at the time years ago, and it was a castle that she held close to her heart.
I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, was an inspiration, an example to me and to all my family. And we owe her the most heartfelt debt any family could owe to their mother, for her love, affection, guidance, understanding, and example. Queen Elizabeth was a life well lived, a promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing. That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all today. Alongside the personal grief that all my family are feeling, we also share with so many of you in the United Kingdom, in all the countries where the Queen was head of state, in the Commonwealth and across the world, a deep sense of gratitude for the more than 70 years in which my mother, as Queen, served the people of so many nations. In 1947, on her 21st birthday, she pledged in a broadcast from Cape Town to the Commonwealth to devote her life, whether it be short or long, to the service of her peoples. That was more than a promise. It was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life. She made sacrifices for duty. Her dedication and devotion as sovereign never wavered through times of change and progress, through times of joy and celebration, and through times of sadness and loss. In her life of service, we saw that abiding love of tradition, together with that fearless embrace of progress, which makes us great as nations. The affection, admiration, and respect she inspired became the hallmark of her reign. And as every member of my family can testify, she combined these qualities with warmth, humor, and an unerring ability always to see the best in people. I pay tribute to my mother's memory, and I honor her life of service. I know that her death brings great sadness to so many of you, and I share that sense of loss beyond measure with you all. When the Queen came to the throne, Britain and the world were still coping with the privations and aftermath of the Second World War, and still living by the conventions of earlier times. In the course of the last 70 years, we have seen our society become one of many cultures and many faiths. The institutions of the state have changed in turn. But through all changes and challenges, our nation and the wider family of realms, of whose talents, traditions, and achievements I am so inexpressibly proud, have prospered and flourished. Our values have remained and must remain constant. The role and the duties of monarchy also remain, as does the sovereign's particular relationship and responsibility towards the Church of England, the church in which my own faith is so deeply rooted. In that faith and the values it inspires, I have been brought up to cherish a sense of duty to others and to hold in the greatest respect the precious traditions, freedoms, and responsibilities of our unique history and our system of parliamentary government. As the Queen herself did with such unswerving devotion, I too now solemnly pledge myself, throughout the remaining time God grants me, to uphold the constitutional principles at the heart of our nation. And wherever you may live in the United Kingdom, or in the realms and territories across the world, and whatever may be your background or beliefs, I shall endeavor to serve you with loyalty, respect, and love, as I have throughout my life. My life will, of course, change as I take up my new responsibilities. It will no longer be possible for me to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I care so deeply. But I know this important work will go on in the trusted hands of others. This is also a time of change for my family. I count on the loving help of my darling wife, Camilla. In recognition of her own loyal public service since our marriage 17 years ago, she becomes my Queen Consort. I know she will bring to the demands of her new role the steadfast devotion to duty on which I have come to rely so much. As my heir, William now assumes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades. Today, I am proud to create him Prince of Wales, Tywysog Cymru, the country whose title I've been so greatly privileged to bear during so much of my life and duty. With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the centre ground, where vital help can be given. I want also to express my love for Harry and Meghan as they continue to build their lives overseas. In a little over a week's time, we will come together as a nation, as a Commonwealth, and indeed a global community, to lay my beloved mother to rest. In our sorrow, let us remember and draw strength from the light of her example. On behalf of all my family, I can only offer the most sincere and heartfelt thanks for your condolences and support. They mean more to me than I can ever possibly express. And to my darling Mama, as you begin your last great journey to join my dear late Papa, I want simply to say this: thank you. Thank you for your love and devotion to our family and to the family of nations you have served so diligently all these years. May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Such a beautiful tribute to his mama and an extremely unifying speech, especially for London at this time. Now, royal expert Sharon Carpenter joins me now. And Sharon, I want to thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with us today. We just witnessed a historical moment with King Charles addressing the nation and the world. What are your first impressions?
I I'm sorry, I was on mute there. Zoom, the challenges of Zoom. But a monumental speech right there, probably the biggest speech of Charles's entire life, his first time addressing the nation as the King of Great Britain. This was a very important speech for him because this was his chance to start the healing process for the nation. The whole country is reeling right now over the loss of the Queen, our beloved Queen, who has stood for strength, who has stood for stability, who has helped us through some of the toughest times over the past 70 years. I think that Charles right there came across as, first off, very human, somebody who has just lost his mother, but at the same time, a strong leader. He has pledged his allegiance to this country, taking over from where his mother left off, saying that he is going to continue her great work. I think he hit all the right points. He talked about the importance of the monarchy because, of course, there's a lot of anti-establishment thought out there. People who are against the monarchy. It was very, very important for Charles to get that point across. He talked about how values and traditions are still important even as the country moves ahead. He talked about some of the new positioning now in the royal family. Prince William, his new title, and King Charles is bestowing upon him that title of the Prince of Wales. The heir apparent traditionally does get that title. And then, of course, Camilla is now the Queen Consort, no longer the Duchess of Cornwall. That title is going to Kate Middleton. And also, of course, King Charles spoke about all the work, the great work, the fantastic work that his mother has done over her 70-year reign, why we love her so much. He talked about the mourning process and how he understands how the country is grieving. He's going through the same thing, but of course, it's a son grieving over his mother. I can only imagine what he must be going through right now, losing his mother yesterday and having to step right into her shoes immediately, flying back from Balmoral, Scotland, heading straight to Buckingham Palace. You were showing the footage earlier where he spent an hour with mourners, chatting with them. There were chants of God save the King. And that right there shows that the British public is getting behind King Charles III. That's a good sign.
Yes, like you mentioned, Sharon, I mean, he's grieving, but he's also comforting us as well. And of course, he mentioned some beautiful words for his beloved mother, the longest reigning monarch in UK's history. Well, what do you think is the biggest challenge that King Charles is about to face in the wake of the Queen's passing?
Yeah, well, here's a number of challenges. I mean, first of all, these are some big shoes to fill, right? The Queen, according to a YouGov poll that was conducted earlier in 2022, she is and has been for a number of years the most popular member of the royal family. 75% of the British public fans of the Queen, followed by Kate Middleton, and then Prince William, and you've got King Charles sort of further down the line. So one of the challenges is he is going to have to really win over the confidence of the British public. Unfortunately, some of the past events that have taken place, his separation and breakup from Princess Diana, the way it's perceived that he treated her, and Diana has spoken about this herself, that has been a challenge for King Charles in terms of the way the public views him. And then, of course, in more recent times, Harry and Meghan, the explosive Oprah Winfrey interview, where people are still questioning, well, who was this member of the royal family? Asking about Archie's skin color, having questions and concerns. Could that have been King Charles? And I think until that's cleared up, we won't know 100% how the public is going to generally feel about him as king. But I think that speech is going to get him places. I think, again, it's starting the healing process, which the country so desperately needs. It's not just the loss of the Queen that the country is dealing with right now. It's heading into a recession, and people are really struggling.
And looking ahead, Sharon, the UK and the world are about to witness a rare royal event, the coronation of a new King of England. Can you talk to us a bit about that timeline set up?
Sure. So the coronation probably won't be happening for a good few months, if not a year. Usually coronations happen quite a way down the line once somebody becomes king or queen. So first off, what we are going to see is King Charles officially being proclaimed the king. That's going to be happening tomorrow, and it's happening by way of an accession council, it's called. It's basically a group that comes together upon the death of a monarch. And it's made up of judges, members of the Church of England, high-powered politicians as well. And they are going to get together and officially declare Charles as the new king. Wow. Also, both houses of Parliament, the House of Lords and the House of Commons as well, will be recalled so that they can take an oath of their allegiance, swear an oath of their allegiance to the new king. So there are certain ceremonial moments that will be taking place before the coronation. Now, here's why the coronation takes a while to happen, is really to pay respect to the monarch who just passed away. So the country will take a while to mourn the Queen. And to get over the fact that she's no longer with us, especially due to the fact that she's been there our entire lives. Every holiday season, during Christmas, she was in the living room with us as she delivered her Christmas speech. And that's a tradition that has now ended. So, you know, this is something very different that we are about to experience. It's the end of one era, but I think King Charles showed us today that there is a silver lining here, and that he does certainly seem and sound like he is up for the job, steering the country in the right direction and towards a place of healing.
Yes, and Charles will officially be proclaimed king at the Accession Council on Saturday. Prince William is now next in line to the throne. He and Kate have been given their new title, as you mentioned, as the Prince and Princess of Wales. What other changes will be coming their way?
Yeah. Well, also, as King Charles said, William is now going to be over the Duchy of Cornwall, which makes a grand amount of money, actually. So it's an estate and reportedly brings in about £20 million a year. So I'm sure William's pretty happy about that one. Of course, we've got a new title for Camilla, as I mentioned earlier. There was some talk about whether Camilla would be the princess consort or the queen consort. But then the queen, before she passed away, she made it very clear that it is her wish for Camilla Parker Bowles to become the queen consort. So that is now her title. We know that King Charles wants to sort of slim down the royal family, if you will. Apparently, he wants to make sure that titles only go to the heirs to the throne and their immediate family members, as well as finances and as well as security. So what we might see in the coming months and the coming years is sort of a much tighter, slimmer version of the royal family. What's going to be interesting is seeing what he decides in terms of duties and who has what responsibilities with his siblings as well. We know that Prince Andrew caught up in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and playing too much of a role in that one. He stepped away from royal duties. Will he come back into the fold? What about Anne? What about Edward? There will be a reshifting of duties and tasks, and it's going to be King Charles who makes all those decisions. My
goodness. And you heard the king mention Prince Harry and Meghan as well. He did it pretty briefly. Yes. Was that a surprise to you?
It wasn't a surprise. I'm glad he did it, and I think it was the right thing. Again, sort of trying to bring everyone to this place of healing where we can move into a better space. Charles is very aware that young people love Harry and Meghan. They are very beloved, especially by the younger generation and outside of the United Kingdom as well. And I would not be surprised if he's beginning to think if it might be a good idea to try to get them back into the royal fold. Now, if you remember when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life, they had a conversation with the Queen, Harry had at least, where he wanted to sort of participate in royal life to a certain extent, but not all the way in. And the Queen was against it. She didn't want this sort of one foot in, one foot out situation. But of course, King Charles is somebody very different. He has his own way of doing things. And he may actually see that as being an asset, allowing Harry and Meghan to still have their life in California, but maybe become a bit more involved in the royal family again and taking on some of those royal duties. It could be really good for the monarchy. And at the end of the day, that's what the royals are all about. If it's good for the monarchy, it's good for everybody.
Sharon, thank you so much for sharing your wealth with us and sharing your knowledge and your expertise. So much of it. We really appreciate you taking time out. And you have our deepest condolences here from E as well.
Thanks, Francesca.
And before we go, we have to show you this. This is something so special. E staffer Rob Bigger actually brought these in today. Take a look at what you're looking at right here. These are documents from the Queen's coronation on June 2nd, 1953, which is his great-grandmother attended. Yes, one of our staffers' great-grandmothers actually attended the coronation here. And I have to tell you all, this coronation made history. The first ever televised coronation in the world, in UK history. Also, this was watched by 27 million people and millions right here in America. And I also want to show you guys this as well. A couple of more souvenirs. There's just, I mean, he could probably put this on eBay and get so much, but guess what? It's not even, it's priceless. Something like this, having it, is priceless at this point. This is a photo that also came with the coronation memorabilia. That's a photo of the Queen at the time of her coronation. And this is hot off the press in 1953. This is remarkable. This is a piece of history. And these and so many more are valued, and not only in the UK, but also right here in America, as we mentioned. Thank you so much for bringing this in, Robert Bigger. And we thank your great-grandmother as well. This is amazing. Now, according to the royal family, a coronation is an occasion for pageantry and celebration. And we don't know when King Charles's coronation will take place, as Sharon mentioned, but we know it won't take place very soon. Queen Elizabeth's coronation was 16 months after her accession. We want to thank you all so much for joining us today. For all the latest royal developments, we want you to head on over to E! Online. Thank you.